Hello, everybody. I've been thinking about something I read, and I have to be honest, it's been weighing heavy on my mind. I want to talk about it because it's not just a headline. It's a sign. A story just came out that federal unions, the very groups who represent hundreds of thousands of people who work for you, the American people, are suing the administration. They filed a lawsuit, and the reason they're going to court is because they say job applicants are being forced to answer questions about their political loyalty. Think about that. Not about their skills, not about their experience or their qualifications. No, they're being asked about their loyalty to a political party, to a person. Now, when I was in office and in the years since, I've had the privilege of knowing thousands of public servants, men and women, Democrats, Republicans, and independents, people who get up every single day and go to work to keep our water clean, to inspect our food, to make sure our airplanes are safe, to care for our veterans. Their loyalty, their oath, was never to me. It was to the Constitution. It was to the flag. It was to the idea of America. That's the way it's supposed to be. That is the bedrock of a functioning democracy. The simple, decent idea that the government works for everyone, not just for the people in power. And when I see a story like this, a lawsuit alleging that we are now testing for political loyalty, it feels like a crack in that bedrock, a serious one. It, as an attempt to change the very nature of public service, from a duty to the public, to a duty to a political agenda. And this, folks, is not a small thing. It's not just another political fight. This is about the trust you have in your own government. Do you trust that the scientists at the National Weather Service is giving you the real forecast for the hurricane, or the one that is politically convenient? Do you trust that the inspector at the FDA is making a decision based on science or based on fear of losing their job? This is what's at stake. Now I know that in times like these, it's easy to get distracted. It's easy for folks to try and change the subject. Some will want to talk about who is speaking or how this message is getting out. They will try to make you look at anything at all. But the problem itself, they'll want to cloud the issue. But I am asking you humbly to listen not just to me, but to the truth of what's happening, to the facts. Because this conversation we're having, it is not about me. It's not about any one person. It is about us. It's about the country we believe in. It's about the future we are building for our children. And in this moment, the truth matters more than ever. The truth is what we have to hold on to. It's the only way we navigate through. So if you believe that truth matters, if you believe that the person who serves you, whether in Washington or in your hometown, should be the best person for the job, not just the most loyal to a party, then I need you to join this conversation. I need you to be a part of it right now. Please click that subscribe button. And if you are able, if you believe in the importance of this work, become a member, because this isn't just one video. This is the start of a story about who we are, and we need to tell it together. We cannot let this be a passing headline. We can't afford to. We have to understand what this means. Now, if you're still with me, and I truly hope you are, I want to talk about why this matters so much. Why one lawsuit, one story about loyalty questions has me so concerned. It's because this isn't happening by accident. This isn't a mistake or a few bad apples. It's a symptom, it's a single visible piece of a much, much larger plan. The plan that has been written down, published, and talked about very openly. The unions themselves, in their lawsuit, they call it out by name. They say this is a direct attempt to implement Project 2025. You may have heard that name. It's a blueprint, a 900-page book a detailed step-by-step guide for how to take apart the very foundations of a nonpartisan government, how to dismantle the administrative state, as they call it. And at the heart of this plan is an idea they call Schedule F. It's a bureaucratic name, and it sounds harmless. But what it means, what it is designed to do, is reclassify tens of thousands of federal jobs. We're talking about scientists, economists, attorneys, experts, people who have spent their lives building expertise and whose jobs by law are protected from political influence. This plan would strip those protections away. It would make them in an instant at-will employees, just like that, which means they could be fired tomorrow for any reason or for no reason at all, fired and then replaced by people chosen not for what they know, but for who they know. Chosen not for their expertise, but for their loyalty. This isn't a guess. This is the stated goal, to purge the civil service and install political loyalists at every level of government. Now, we have been here before. As a country, we have seen this movie a long time ago. We had something called the spoils system. It was a time when, after every election, the winner would come in and fire everyone and hand out government jobs to their friends, to their donors, to their political supporters. It was corrupt, it was inefficient, it was wrong. And it took the assassination of a President Garfield, shot by a disgruntled man who thought he deserved a job, for us to finally say enough. In 1883, Congress passed the Pendleton Act. It was a simple, powerful idea. It said that government jobs should be awarded on merit, on what you know, on your qualifications, not on your politics, for more than 140 years. That idea has been the foundation of our government. And it pains me, it truly deeply pains me to see us right now actively trying to tear that foundation down. To see people arguing that we should go backwards, back to a system we knew was broken, back to a system of patronage and cronyism. This isn't reform, this is decay. This isn't about making government more efficient, it's about making it more obedient. And that brings up a very serious question. What really happens to you, to your family, when the government is no longer run by experts, but by loyalists? What does that look like in your daily life? That's what we need to talk about next. So let's ask that question. What does it really mean for you? What happens when the person in charge of, say, the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, is no longer a top doctor or a scientist with decades of experience, but someone who was just picked because they are loyal to a political party? What happens when a new medicine comes up for approval, or when a food product is found to be unsafe? Do you want that decision made based on science, based on your health, or do you want it made based on what is best for a politician or for a corporation that donated to that politician? Let's take it a step further. What about the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, the people who test your water, the people who check the air you and your children breathe? These are scientists. Their job is to look at the data, at the facts, and tell the truth, whether that truth is popular or not. But what happens if telling the truth, if saying that a certain chemical is poisoning a river makes a powerful donor angry? What happens if that scientist under this new Schedule F knows they can be fired on the spot for just doing their job? Do they stay quiet? Do they change the report? And what happens to that river? What happens to the people who live by it? This is not a political game. This is about your life. This is about your safety. It's about the very air and water you depend on. It's about the National Weather Service. And whether the hurricane map you see is the real one or the one that was drawn to make someone feel better, it's about the Department of Justice and whether the law is applied equally to everyone or whether friends get a pass and enemies are targeted. When you replace merit with loyalty, you replace truth with power. You create a government that is no longer accountable to you, but only to the people at the very top. It's an infection in the system, and it spreads. It creates a culture of fear, a culture of silence, where good people are forced to make bad choices or leave altogether. And who is left? The people who are willing to say yes, the people who are willing to put their loyalty to a person above their loyalty to their country. And this brings me to something I see happening even in a conversation like this one. There will be those who want to distract from this right now. They will come into the comments section and they will try to change the subject. They will talk about anything. But the facts we are discussing, they will try to undermine the message or the messenger or even the way this message is being delivered. When you see this, I want you to ask yourself one question. Why? Why would someone try so hard to stop a real conversation about the future of our country? It's because they don't want to talk about the truth. They don't want you focused on what is at stake. They are afraid of this conversation. So when you see those kinds of comments, the ones that try to tear down, to distract, to dismiss, I'm asking you to call them out, not with anger, but with clarity. Ask them to address the substance. Ask them to talk about the facts from the lawsuit. Ask them to talk about the plan in Project 2025, because anyone who cares about this country, anyone who truly cares about the truth, will be willing to engage with the issue. The rest is just noise. And we cannot afford right now to be distracted by noise. The reason I'm so focused on this, the reason it worries me down to my bones, is that this is not just one bad policy. It's part of a pattern. It's a larger story of an assault on our democratic norms, on the guardrails, the unwritten rules, and the written ones too, that have kept this republic together for more than 240 years. A nonpartisan civil service is one of those guardrails. It's one of the most important. But so is an independent press. So is an independent Justice Department. So are free and fair elections. So is the peaceful transfer of power. And what we have seen over the last several years is a steady, constant chipping away at all of these things. This isn't a secret. It's happening right out in the open, and that's the part that is so shocking. This plan, this Project 2025, it's not a whispered secret. It's a 900-page book. It is a public declaration of an intent to capture the government, to bend it to the will of a political movement, to remove anyone who stands in the way. The lawsuit filed by the unions, it's the alarm bell. It's the first visible sign that the plan is already in motion. The fear and the outrage that the story mentions, that's not an overreaction. It's the correct, rational response to what is happening. It is the fear of people who have dedicated their lives to public service, are now being told their expertise doesn't matter, only their obedience does. It is the outrage of citizens who must believe that their government is working for them, not for a party. I have traveled the world. I have sat with leaders of old democracies and new ones, and I have seen this story play out in other places. I have seen how democracies can slide, not always in a big, loud revolution, but quietly, one bad law at a time, one norm broken at a time, one expert fired at a time. It starts with leaders who call the press the enemy of the people, and it continues with leaders who attack the court system or the intelligence agencies or the military leadership, calling them deep state or traitors, and it reaches its goal when those leaders succeed in replacing all those independent voices with their own voices, with loyalists, with people who will never ever tell them no. This is not an American value. This is not what we stand for. The United States of America is built on a different idea, an idea of checks and balances, an idea that no one person is above the law, an idea that the truth based on facts and evidence and science matters, and we have to decide right now if we still believe in that idea, because it is being challenged, it is being tested, and all of us are the only ones who can defend it. And the reason this pain I'm feeling is so deep is because I know that we are better than this. The America I know, the America I have always believed in, is not a place that builds its government on fear. It's not a place that demands loyalty to a person or a party over loyalty to the truth. The America I know is a big, complicated, noisy, and beautiful place, built on an idea, a simple, revolutionary idea that we are a nation of laws, not of men, that we are a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's what we are. That is the light we have held up for the world. And this plan, this lawsuit, this whole way of thinking, it feels like a betrayal of that idea. It's an insult. It's an insult to the generations of public servants, the men and women who have worked quietly, humbly, and without fanfare to make this country work. Think about the scientists at the National Institutes of Health, the NIH, who has spent 30 years searching for a cure for a disease. That person is not a Democrat or a Republican in the lab. That person is a scientist, a public servant. Think about the diplomat in a difficult, faraway country, trying to build bridges and prevent a war. Their loyalty is not to a president. Their loyalty is to the United States of America. And this new idea, this Project 2025, it looks at those people and it says, your 30 years of expertise don't matter. Your service doesn't matter. Your patriotism doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is, do you agree with me? What kind of country does that create? What happens to the future? How do we solve the big problems? How do we tackle climate change? If the scientists are afraid to speak, how do we prevent the next pandemic? If the doctors are replaced by political allies, how do we keep our economy strong? And if the experts who watch over it are told what to think, we don't. We become weaker. We become smaller. We become a country we no longer recognize. And Americans, you deserve so much better than that. You deserve a government that is as decent, as honest, and as hardworking as you are. You deserve a government that is based on merit, not on politics. You deserve a government that is focused on your family, not on settling political scores. That is the better approach. It's not a new idea. It's the idea that this country was founded on. That is the truth. And it's the truth that matters. So you might be sitting there listening, and you're feeling it too. You're feeling the anger, the frustration. Maybe you feel a sense of hopelessness. You're thinking, this is all happening so fast, and I'm just one person. What can I possibly do? I understand that feeling. The people who are pushing this plan, the people who wrote this 900-page book, they are counting on that feeling. They are counting on you to be tired. They are counting on you to be overwhelmed. They are counting on you to get distracted. They're counting on you to look away. They want you to believe that this is just politics, that it's just noise, that it doesn't really affect you. But you and I, we both know that's not true. This is not a drill. This is about the very foundation of the country we are. leaving for our children. So what can you do? First, you are not powerless. You are never powerless. Your voice, your one voice, when it joins with others, is the most powerful force on earth. It is the force that has changed this country for the better time and time again. So first, you have to know what's happening. You have to pay attention. You have to read past the headlines. You have to talk about this. I'm not asking you to be an expert. I'm just asking you to be a citizen, to be an informed, engaged citizen. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. Talk to your neighbors. Ask them, did you hear about this? Do you know what's going on? Don't let them make this a small, quiet story. Make it the big, loud, important story that it is. And second, you have to use your voice. You have to speak up in your communities, in your town halls, at your places of work, and yes, at the ballot box. You have to make it clear in a calm but firm and powerful way that this is not the America you want. This is not the future you choose. The unions, they are fighting this battle in the courts. And that is a good and right and necessary thing. They are using the tools of our democracy. But you have to fight this battle in the court of public opinion. You have to be the guardrails. You have to be the ones who say no. This stops here. This is not who we are. I still have faith. I have always had faith. I believe in the American people. I believe that when the American people are presented with the truth, when they see the facts clearly, in the end, to make the right choice. That's the faith that has always guided me. And that's the faith I have in you right now. This is why I say we deserve better, because I know what better looks like. It's not a dream. It's what we've been trying to build and perfect for our entire history. A better approach is not about finding new ways to divide us. It's about remembering what unites us. The better approach is a government that works, a government that is filled with the best, the brightest, the most qualified people from all walks of life who are there for one reason, to serve the American people, not a party, not a person, but the public. Think about that word, public servant. It's a noble calling. It's what I try to be. It's what millions of people do every single day with honor. When you send your child to school, you trust that the building is safe. Why? Because a public servant, an inspector, who knows about construction, went and checked it. Not because they were a loyal friend of the principal. When you get on an airplane, you trust that it will stay in the sky. Why? Because public servants at the FAA, engineers and safety experts, have done their jobs. They have checked the plane and checked the airline and checked the pilot. This is trust. It's the trust that holds our entire society together. And that trust is built on one thing. Merit. It is built on the idea that the people in those jobs know what they are doing. This is not a democratic idea. This is not a Republican idea. This is an American idea. It is a patriotic idea. True patriotism, true love of country, is not about blind loyalty to one leader. It's not about wearing a flag pin. It's about loyalty to our values, loyalty to the Constitution, loyalty to the rule of law, and loyalty to the truth. This plan, this lawsuit, this whole idea of loyalty tests. It is the opposite of that. It is a rejection of that American idea. It replaces trust with suspicion. It replaces merit with obedience. It replaces patriotism with partnership. It hurts to see this. It hurts to see the noble calling of public service a calling that has defined this country, be dragged through the mud to hear these hard-working, decent people, our neighbors, our friends, our family members, described as a deep state, described as an enemy that needs to be purged. These are the people who run into burning forests. These are the people who find cures for diseases. These are the veterans who, after serving in uniform, continue to serve their country as civilians. To call them disloyal, it's an insult. It's wrong. And we all know it. So you have to ask yourself why. Why would anyone want this? Why would anyone want to replace a government of experts with a government of loyalists? It's not a hard question to answer. It's about one thing: power, unchecked power. Think about it. A government full of independent thinkers, full of experts who have sworn an oath to the Constitution, that kind of government is a check on power. It's a guardrail. Those experts, those scientists, those lawyers, they are the people who can and who must say no. They're the ones who say, no, sir, you cannot do that. The law does not allow it. Or, no, mom, you cannot do that. The science does not support it. Or, no, the facts say something different. That is their job, to tell the truth, to power. But a government that is filled only with loyalists, a government where every single person can be fired if they don't do exactly what they are told, that kind of government has no one left to say no. It only has people who say yes. Yes, sir. How high, sir? That is the goal. The goal is to remove every barrier, to remove every single person who might ask a hard question, to remove every single person who might put their duty to the country above their duty to a political agenda. This is a very, very dangerous path. We have seen it in other countries, in other times in history. It is the first step a leader takes when they want to be able to do whatever they want with no one to stop them. It leads to a government that serves only itself, not the people. It leads to corruption because there is no one left to watch the watchers. It leads to terrible mistakes because all the experts are gone, replaced by people who only know how to agree. Now, I know there will be people, even as you listen to this, who will try to tell you this is not true. They will say this is fear-mongering, or they will, as we've seen, try to distract you in any way they can. They will point fingers. They will call names. They will try to make this conversation. The problem, but I want to ask you very simply, is it fear-mongering to read the words from a 900-page plan? Is it fear-mongering to listen to the lawsuit filed by the people who are seeing it happen right now? I don't think it is. I think that is called awareness. I think that is called being a responsible citizen. The real danger, the real fear, is in not looking. The real danger is in staying silent. The real danger is in letting them distract you until it's too late. So this is the moment we are in. It is a moment of decision. We are standing at a fork in the road, looking at two very, very different paths, two different futures, two different ideas of what America should be. Down one path, we accept this new idea. We accept a government where your political party, your personal loyalty is the only thing that matters. A future where scientists are told what to find, where government lawyers are told who to prosecute, where the people who are supposed to protect your health, your money, and your safety are afraid to do their jobs because they could be fired tomorrow. It is a future where the truth is weak and power is everything. A future where you can no longer trust what your own government tells you. And then there is the other path, the path that is harder to see sometimes, but it is the one that has made this country great. It is the path we have been on imperfectly for more than 140 years. It's the path built on merit, on expertise, on truth, on facts. A future where you know the person inspecting your food or your child's water is the best person for the job. A future where you can trust the hurricane map. A future where the government is not a weapon to be used by one party against another, but a tool to be used humbly in service of all the people. I need to be very clear. This is not a choice between Democrats and Republicans. This is not about left versus right. This is a choice about right versus wrong. It is a choice about competence versus chaos. It is a choice about an America that works for everyone or an America that works for only a few. I have always believed in the deep, quiet decency of the American people. I saw it every single day for 8 years. I see it still. The people who get up, go to work, take care of their families, and help their neighbors. They don't ask for much, they just want a fair shot. And they want to believe that the people in charge are at least trying to do the right thing. This plan, this Project 2025, it is a betrayal of that basic American decency. It assumes you are not paying attention. It assumes you are too tired or too divided to see what is happening right in front of you. This is our moment to prove that assumption wrong. This is our moment to remember who we are. We are a nation of high standards. We expect the best. We deserve the best. We deserve better than a government run by people who got the job just because they knew the right person. We deserve better than a system that is built on fear. And that is why this conversation, the one we are having right now, is so very important, and it is why, as I have said, there are those who will try to stop it. They will try to tell you this is not real. They will try to pick apart how this is set, to make you ignore what is being said. They will try to make you cynical, to make you give up. But the ideas, the facts, the truth, those things are real. The lawsuit is real. The 900-page plan is real. And the danger to our country, that is real too. We cannot let ourselves be pushed aside. We have to stand up for the truth. We have been talking for a while now, and I am truly grateful for your time. I am grateful that you care enough about your country to listen. I have had the honor of serving this country in the highest office. I have seen its goodness, its strength, its resilience. I have seen what we can do when we come together, and I am speaking to you today not as a former president, but as a citizen, as a father, as someone who loves this country and is deeply, deeply worried about its future. The story, as we've discussed, is simple. A lawsuit has been filed. It warns that a plan is underway. A plan called Project 2025 to fire tens of thousands of our public servants, our experts, our scientists, our watchdogs, and replace them with people who are chosen only for their political loyalty. We have talked about what this means for you, for your health, for your safety, for the air you breathe, for the water you drink. We have talked about how this is an attack on the very idea of truth in our public life. And we have talked about how you are the only ones who can stop it. I want to be clear, I am not saying these things to scare you. I am saying them to activate you, to wake us all up, because we cannot be the generation that lets this happen. We cannot be the ones who stand by silently and let our democracy slide into a system of loyalty and fear. In the days to come, you will hear from the people who want this plan to happen. They will tell you this is all a lie. They will try to distract you. They will come right here into the comments and they will say anything to get you to look away. They might even try to tell you that this message itself isn't real, that it's fake. I want you to ask yourself, why? Why would they do that? It is because they are afraid of these ideas. They are afraid of you when you are armed with the truth. When you see someone trying to silence this conversation, trying to make you doubt what is real, you must remember the people who are afraid of the truth are almost always the people who have something to hide. A true patriot is not afraid of a hard conversation. A true patriot is not afraid of the facts. So this is the work. This is where it ends for today, but this is also where it begins. If you are still here, if you have listened to this entire message, then I know you believe in this too. I know you believe that we deserve better. So please do not let this moment pass. Do not be silent. Right now, please click that like button. It is a small thing, but it helps this message reach more people. It helps spread the truth. Then go to the comments. I want to hear from you, but don't just write a comment. Share your own story. Tell us about a public servant, a teacher, a firefighter, a scientist, a soldier, someone who shows what real service means. Let's fill this space with truth and with gratitude. And most importantly, please subscribe to this channel. And if you are able, if you have the means, please become a member. This is not just about one video. This is about building a community of people from all parties and all walks of life who are dedicated to that simple, powerful idea, the idea of an America that is fair, an America that is honest, an America that is based on merit, an America that works. Seeing reports that the government shutdown, a shutdown that should never have happened, is now so severe that the FAA, the folks who keep our skies safe, is having to cut flights, not because of weather, not because of a security threat, but because of gridlock, because of a failure of leadership in Washington. Thousands of flights, grandmothers who can't see their grandchildren, business trips canceled, families stuck in terminals wondering what's going on and why. Because in the wealthiest, most powerful nation on earth, we can't seem to get the basics right. We can't seem to keep the doors of your government open. This isn't just an inconvenience. This is a sign of a deeper problem. It's a symptom of a politics that has stopped being about you, the American people, and started being about scoring points. It's a politics of us versus them, where winning the argument or owning the other side is more important than doing the job you were sent to Washington to do. Now, I understand how the internet works. I know that as soon as you try to have a serious conversation, as soon as you try to speak the truth about what's happening, some folks will try to distract. They will try to find any reason to get you to look away. They'll jump in the comments, they'll say, this isn't real, or they'll try to pick apart the words instead of listening to the message. They want you to be cynical, they want you to believe that nothing can change, so you'll just tune out. But let me ask you, does the flight cancellation feel real to the person who just got the alert on their phone? Does the empty paycheck feel real to the air traffic controller working overtime for free, stressed, exhausted, but still showing up to keep you safe? Does that feel real to the federal worker wondering how they're going to pay the mortgage? It's real, but tries to tell you to ignore the chaos you see with your own eyes. Anyone who tries to make you argue about the messenger instead of the message, well, you have to ask yourself why. Maybe they just don't want to solve the problem. Maybe they don't want you to hear the truth. Maybe they benefit from the chaos. We cannot let those voices, the voices of division and distraction, win. We are going to have a real conversation right here. And it's a conversation that is long overdue. This is too important, and the stakes are too high to have this talk just once. I need to know you're here. I need to know you're listening. If you believe that we deserve a government that functions, if You believe we deserve leaders who will put your family's safety and your economic security above their own political games, then I need you to subscribe to this channel right now. And if you really want to be part of the solution, if you want to dig in and support this work, then become a member. This isn't just about watching a video. This is about building a community of folks who are paying attention. It's about sending a message loud and clear that we are not going to look away. We are not going to be silent. We have a lot to talk about. And the people in Washington, they need to know that we are watching. So let's talk about what just happened. We're told Senator Schumer and the Democrats, they put a proposal on the table, a deal, a way to open the government to get those federal employees paid to get those airports running smoothly again. Now, I've been in the Oval Office. I've been in the Situation Room. I know what compromise looks like. I know that in a democracy, nobody gets 100% of what they want. That's the deal. You sit down, you talk, you argue, but you do it in good faith. You do it with the understanding that the person across the table isn't your enemy. They're your fellow American. You do it with the understanding that your primary job, your only job, is to make life better and safer for the people who sent you there. That's the work. It's hard. It's messy, but it's necessary. And what did we see? We saw that proposal rejected. We're told Senate Republicans, taking their cues from the White House, said no clear end in sight. That's what the reports say. Now let's be clear about what that means. A no in Washington isn't just a word. That no has consequences. That no means an air traffic controller who we depend on has to make a choice between gas for the car or medicine for their child. That no means a small business owner who has the contract with the government, who provides cleaning services or food services, has to lay off their employees. That no means a scientist waiting for a research grant, a family waiting for benefits, a veteran waiting for services. They all just have to wait. They are all being held hostage. Hostage to what? To gridlock, to an administration that seems to prefer chaos over compromise, to a style of leadership that sees government not as a tool to help people, but as a punching bag in a political fight. This is what I find so frustrating. This exhaustion that you're feeling, that sense that the people in charge are playing games while you're just trying to live your life. That's real, and it's not normal. We cannot allow this to become normal. This is not what our founders envisioned. This is not the more perfect union they asked us to build, using the livelihoods of American families as bargaining chips. That's not strength, that's weakness. It's a failure of imagination. It's a failure of leadership. It's a failure to see that behind all the numbers and the polls and the cable news hits, there are real people. People who are tired, people who are scared, and people who, more than anything, just deserve better. They deserve a government that works. And frankly, they deserve leaders who are grown-ups, leaders who understand that the job is not about you, it's about you, the American people. That is the fundamental promise. And right now, that promise is being broken. This isn't the first time we've seen this. This isn't the first time we've seen leaders in Washington use a government shutdown as a bargaining chip. I've seen it from the other side. I've lived it. I've sat in those rooms. And I can tell you, every single time, it is a choice. It is a choice to inflict pain on the American people to try and get something you want. It is a manufactured crisis. It's not a flood. It's not a hurricane. It is a decision made by people in power to stop the government from working. And what's worse is that it's becoming a habit. It's becoming part of the playbook. And every time it happens, it does a little more damage, not just to the economy, not just to the families who miss a paycheck. It does damage to our trust. It damages our faith in the idea that our government can do anything. Right? It makes us cynical. It makes us angry. It makes us turn on each other. And that's what the people who thrive on division want. They want you exhausted. They want you to believe that the whole system is broken, that nothing matters, that nobody is telling the truth. It's a terrible strategy. And it's a short-sighted one. Think about the message it sends to the world. We are the beacon of democracy. We are the nation that other countries look to as an example. And they look at us now and they see our airports in chaos. They see us unable to perform the most basic function of government, to keep the lights on. They see us fighting amongst ourselves. This is not who we are. This is not the America I know. The America I know is resourceful. It's optimistic. It's pragmatic. The America I know rolls up its sleeves and solves problems. It doesn't create them. And this is why we have to stay focused. When we talk about these real problems, flight cancellations, families who are hurting, there will always be those who try to change the subject. They will try to tell you, don't listen to this. They will try to find any reason to make you look away. They want to argue about how we are talking instead of what we are talking about. They're counting on your frustration. They're counting on you to get so tired of the noise that you just check out. We cannot let them win. We cannot let the voices of cynicism and distraction pull our eyes away from the truth. The truth is that this is a failure of leadership. The truth is that the consequences, and the truth is that anyone who tells you to get over it or to stop complaining or that this isn't real, they just don't want to be held accountable. They are hoping you will be quiet. We're not going to be quiet. So what is the better approach? I mentioned it's not complicated. It's not some magic new idea. It's simple. It's empathy. It's remembering that the person on the other side of the aisle, the person who holds a different opinion, they are not your enemy. They are your fellow American. They have a family. They have hopes. They have fears. They want this country to succeed just like you do. That's where you have to start. You have to start from a place of common humanity. You have to believe that compromise is not a dirty word. In a country of more than 300 million people, a country as big and as diverse as ours, nobody is going to get their way all the time. Our founders knew that that's why they built a system of checks and balances. They built a system that forces compromise. It's supposed to be hard, but it's not supposed to be impossible. It's not supposed to be a blood sport. What we are seeing right now is a politics that has forgotten this. It's a politics that says, if I don't get 100% of what I want, I will take my ball and go home. I will shut the whole thing down. And who gets hurt? Not them, not the powerful. You do, the American people do. The leaders who are supposed to be serving you end up holding you hostage. That is not leadership. That is the opposite of leadership. Leadership is about responsibility. It's about understanding that the office you hold, the power you have, is not about you. It's not about your poll numbers. It's not about your ratings. It is about the trust that the American people have placed in you. It is a sacred trust. And to use that trust, to use the functions of government as a weapon in a political fight, that is a betrayal of that trust. And it's a betrayal of our future. When we teach our children to behave this way, that if you don't get what you want, you just break the toy. What are we telling them? What happens when they grow up? We have to demand better. We have to start talking about this. And when people try to stop the conversation, when they try to shout you down or tell you that your voice doesn't matter, or try to pick apart who is speaking instead of what is being said, you have to remember, those are the tactics of people who are afraid. They are afraid of the truth. They are afraid of you. the American people coming together and demanding accountability. The truth is simple. The government is shut down. People are hurting. And the only reason it's not open is because of a failure of leadership at the very top. We have to be able to say that, we have to be able to talk about it, and we have to be able to fix it. Let's think about this. The FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, these are not just office workers. These are the men and women who sit in dark rooms looking at radar screens, guiding planes with hundreds of people on board. Your plane, my plane, they guide them through storms, through crowded skies, and get them onto the ground safely. It is one of the most stressful jobs in the world, and we as a nation have a promise with them. We promise that if they do that job, if they keep us safe, we will pay them, we will take care of their families. And right now, the administration in Washington has broken that promise. They are being asked to work for free. And now, because the strain is too much, because you can't run the world's most complex air system with a skeleton crew, flights are being cut. This isn't a political argument. This is a fact. This is a matter of safety. When you get to the point where the basic functions of government, like keeping the skies safe, are breaking down, you're no longer in the realm of normal political debate. You are in a full-blown crisis, a crisis of leadership, a crisis of competence, and a crisis of character. Because leadership isn't about blaming other people, it's not about tweeting, it's about solving problems. It's about sitting down in a room and not leaving until the job is done. It's about understanding that the President of the United States works for everyone, not just the people who voted for him. The current administration, by letting this happen, by rejecting deals to reopen the government, is telling you that their political fight is more important than your family's travel plans. They are telling you that their demands are more important than the paycheck of a federal worker. They are telling you that they are willing to risk chaos to get their way. And this is what I need you to understand. This is a choice. It is a decision that is being made in the White House every single day to keep this shutdown going. It could end tomorrow. It could end today. All it would take is for the president to say, enough. We will have our political fights, but we will not have them on the backs of the American people. We will not hold federal workers hostage. Open the government, pay our people, keep our skies safe. That's all it would take. A simple act of leadership, a simple act of decency. But we are not seeing it. Instead, we see more blame, we see more division, and we see people, good people, who are just trying to do their jobs, caught in the middle, and anyone who tells you this is fake or not a big deal, they are not living in the same reality as the rest of us. They are trying to get you to look away from the very real, very damaging consequences of a failed leadership. What this does over time is it poisons our faith in each other. It makes us believe that nothing works. It makes us believe that everybody in Washington is corrupt and that it doesn't matter who you vote for. And that right there is the most dangerous thing of all, because when people lose hope, when they check out, when they stop believing that their voice matters, that's when democracy starts to wither. That's when the people who like the chaos, the people who benefit from the division, that's when they win. This exhaustion that you feel is not an accident. It is a political strategy. The goal is to make you so tired, so fed up with the fighting that you just give up. You give up on the news, you give up on the conversation, you give up on the idea that we can do better. This is not the America I know. The America I know is not this cynical. The America I know is not this divided. The America I know is full of decent, hardworking people. People who get up every day, go to work, take care of their kids, help their neighbors, people who understand that we are all in this together. That's the America I saw when I travel this country. That's the America that still exists, outside the noise of Washington. We are better than this. We are a country that has faced down depressions. We have won world wars. We have overcome division before. We have always come together when it mattered most. And the only reason we are not coming together now is because our leadership, the administration in charge, is actively trying to keep us apart. They believe that they benefit politically by pitting one group of Americans against another. And so we have a choice. We can give in to the exhaustion. We can give in to the cynicism. We can listen to the voices on the internet that tell us to be quiet, that tell us it's all fake, that try to distract us with nonsense. We can let them win. Or we can remember who we are. We can stand up and speak out. We can demand accountability. We can demand that our leaders do their jobs. We can demand that they reopen your government. This is not a Democratic or a Republican issue. This is an American issue. This is about our basic competence as a nation. This is about our values. This is about whether we are a country that solves problems or a country that creates them. We have to be the ones to remind them. We have to be the ones who will not look away, no matter how hard they try to make us. We have to be the ones who say, enough. When I had the privilege of serving, I met federal workers from every walk of life. I met the scientists at the National Institutes of Health working late into the night to find a cure for cancer. I met the park rangers who protect our mountains and our canyons, the places that define our spirit. I met the people who, after a hurricane or a tornado, show up with FEMA jackets to help people put their lives back together. These folks, they aren't the deep state. They aren't a faceless bureaucrat. They are your neighbors. They are fellow Americans. They are patriots. They're the person coaching your kid's soccer team. They're the person who volunteers at the food bank. And right now their lives are being thrown into chaos for no good reason. They're being treated as pawns in a political game. Think about the message this sends. The administration, by choosing this shutdown, by rejecting a way to open the doors, is saying that their political fight is more important than these people's lives. It's more important than their rent. It's more important than their car payment. It's more important than the food they need to put on the table. And it's certainly more important than your travel plans. That's the message. And it's a cold message. It's a heartless message. It's a message that lacks a basic understanding of what leadership is. Leadership is not about how loud you can shout. It's not about who you can blame. Leadership is about responsibility. It is about taking care of the people you are sworn to serve. It's about remembering that the government is not something in Washington. It is us. It is the services we all depend on. And what about the air traffic controllers? I want to just pause on this. This is a job that requires total 100% focus. When you are guiding a plane with 200 souls on board, you cannot be distracted. You cannot be worried about whether you're going to be evicted. You cannot be stressed about a mountain of unpaid bills. We need these professionals to be at their best. And yet this shutdown is putting them, and by extension, all of us who fly, under a cloud of unbearable stress. And now we're seeing the system start to crack. Flights are being cut. The system can't handle the strain. This is not a hypothetical problem. This is not a fake news story. This is a real-world crisis, a safety issue, created entirely by a failure of leadership in Washington. This is what happens when politics stops being about making life better for people and starts being about division. It's a strategy. We've seen it before, not just here, but in other places, in other times. The playbook is always the same. First, you convince people that the other side is not just wrong, but that they are your enemy. You tell them they are trying to destroy your way of life. You make people angry, you make them afraid, then you convince them that the government itself, the very thing that's supposed to help us, is the real problem. You tell them it's broken. You tell them it's full of your enemies, and then you break it. You shut it down. You create chaos. And when people get upset, when the airports get jammed, when paychecks stop coming, you point your finger at the very people you were attacking in the first place. You blame them for the chaos you created. It's an old trick, and it's a cynical one. It's a trick that relies on one thing. It relies on us, the American people, getting so tired, so frustrated, and so disgusted by it all that we just turn away. We tune out, we say they're all as bad as each other, and we give up on the whole thing. That is what they're counting on. That is the goal, because if you give up, they win. If you stop paying attention, they're no longer accountable to anyone. They can do whatever they want. We cannot let that happen. We cannot give in to the exhaustion. We cannot give in to the cynicism. This is not a time to turn away. This is a time to lean in. This is a time to pay more attention. And this is why it's so important that we have this conversation right here. It's why when you see those voices in the comment section trying to distract, trying to tell you this is fake or this is AI, or trying to get you to argue about anything except the real problem, you have to see that for what it is. It is an attempt to silence the truth. It is an attempt to stop you from hearing a message of common sense. It's an attempt to stop you from connecting with your fellow Americans. Anyone who tries to shout down a real conversation about the problems we face, anyone who tries to tell you not to listen, you have to ask yourself, why? Why are they so afraid of you hearing the truth? Why are they so afraid of us coming together? It's because they know that if we do come together, if we do speak with one voice and demand better, they lose, and we, the people, we win. So what is the better approach? It's not a secret. It's not complicated. It's the same thing you practice in your own lives every single day. It's called responsibility. It's called empathy. It's remembering that the people you disagree with still love this country. It's sitting down in a room and talking and listening. You were not sent to Washington to win a news cycle. You were sent there to solve problems. You were sent there to make life better for the people back home. You were sent there to make sure the skies are safe, to make sure our veterans are cared for, to make sure our national parks are open, to make sure our scientists can find cures for diseases. That is the job. That is the whole job. This current administration, by choosing this path, by choosing chaos, they have forgotten that they have embraced a politics of anger and division, a politics that says, if you're not with me, you're my enemy. A politics that says, I have to win, and it doesn't matter who gets hurt. That is not the American way. That is not the spirit that built this country. The spirit that built this country was a spirit of common purpose. It was a spirit that said, I may not agree with you on everything, but we are both Americans. Let's find a way forward. Let's build something together. We have to get back to that. We have to start demanding that again, because we do deserve better. You deserve to turn on the news and not feel a wave of frustration and exhaustion. You deserve to know that the people in charge are serious people doing serious work. You deserve a government that is not a source of chaos, but a source of stability. We have to reject this idea that being loud is the same as being strong. It's not. Strength is being willing to compromise. Strength is having the courage to listen to someone you disagree with. Strength is putting the good of the country, the good of the American people above your own pride. That's strength. That's leadership. What we are seeing now is not strength. It is a temper tantrum. It is a failure to lead, and the people paying the price are the very people who were promised they would be remembered, the forgotten men and women. Well, they are being forgotten again. They are being hurt the most. The federal worker, the traveler, they are the ones paying the price for this failure. And it's not right. We've talked about a lot today. We talked about the facts, a shutdown that is causing real harm, flights being cut, a deal being rejected, and we've talked about the feeling, the frustration, the exhaustion, the sense that this is not normal, and it's not, this is a choice. It is a failure of leadership from the White House, and it is a failure of a politics that has chosen division over unity and chaos over competence. But the most important thing I want to leave you with is this: do not give in to the cynicism. Do not let them make you believe that your voice does not matter. It has never mattered more, this moment of frustration. This is not the end of the story. This is the beginning of our work. This is the moment we wake up. This is the moment we remember who we are. We are Americans. We are better than this. We are a nation of problem solvers. We are a nation of people who, when we see a neighbor in trouble, we help. And right now, our neighbors are in trouble. Those federal workers are our neighbors. The people stranded at the airport are our neighbors. We have to be their voice. We have to be the ones who speak the truth. And this is a real conversation. The pain we're talking about is real. And your voice, your concern is real. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone in the comments or anywhere else try to shut you down. Don't let them tell you that this doesn't matter or that this isn't a real discussion. People who try to stop a real talk about our country's future, they're just afraid. They're afraid of you finding your voice. They're afraid of you demanding the truth. They're afraid of you coming together. But that is exactly what we must do. This is where you come in. This conversation cannot end when this video ends. If you believe we deserve better, I need you to do a few things. First, like this video so more people will see it. Second, comment below. Tell me what you're seeing. Tell me what you're feeling. Third, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, we have so much more to talk about. And finally, if you are able, become a member. Your support allows us to have these conversations, to cut through the noise, and to build a community of people who are ready to demand the truth. Do not look away. Do not be silent. Let's stand up. Let's speak out. And let's remind the people in Washington who they work for. They work for you. Thank you for listening.